Showtime! The Capital G show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here. I don't usually do videos this late and I wasn't planning on making another video today, but I hopped on YouTube for a quick second and I saw that there was a new pot card coming out and I was like, holy shit. I mean, like, this is pretty big news. It's called Pot of Wealth. It's coming out in the Secrets of Evolution. Now this is going to be, it's going to be a ways down the line before we even see this card, because the Secrets of Evolution, if I'm not mistaken, that is the set after the new challengers. So, I mean, it's probably going to be like into next year before you can really think about trying to pick these up or whatnot. It is a normal spell. The effect says you can only activate one Pot of Wealth per turn. During the turn you activate this card, you cannot special summon monsters except by Pendulum Summoning. And choose 3 Pendulum Monsters in your graveyard or that are face up in your extra deck, shuffle them into your deck, and then draw 2 cards. So I like this card a lot, and I think that there is a ton of potential. I mean, any card that lets you draw 2 is going to see some level of play. Like, I even thought, like, way back in the day that Rare Value was a fantastic card just because it lets you draw 2. Like, if there's a feasible way to activate a condition and it lets you draw 2, players will fucking find a way to play it, because drawing 2 is just so huge in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think it goes without saying that the card is definitely good. The way that I see this is, it's kind of like a safety net against most cards that counter either the pendulum mechanic or the pendulum summoning itself. For instance, let's say you're trying to pendulum summon 3 monsters and your opponent is just like, Black One of Heaven, get that shit out of here. Instead of, you know, losing all 3 of your cards, you can hypothetically activate Pot of Wealth. You can get all your stuff back into your deck, and then you can draw 2. So it's kind of like a quick recovery card there. The same goes if, God forbid, your pendulum scale gets cracked. That's probably the worst case scenario. If somebody activates like a Fairy Wind or a Spell Shattering Arrow, you know, even worse, like Full House, and they just nuke everything. But if your pendulum scale gets cracked, that's really bad, because you really can't do anything with the monsters in your hand, and you lose your scale cards as well. This is, again, a great answer to recover from that situation. I think what's really going to help this card, and what's going to make it very playable in my opinion, is Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, because Odd Eyes just makes this card, like, it makes it, the times that this card is going to be dead in the early game, like, I feel like I feel like Odd Eyes is just kind of like a catalyst for this card. You know, you play your Odd Eyes and Odd Eyes get sent to the extra deck, and then you get another card, and then basically you could do that. Like, you could even go Odd Eyes, Odd Eyes, Odd Eyes. I mean, that would take a while, but Odd Eyes gets your deck going, and at the same time, Odd Eyes counts for the pendulum cards that you can send back if you don't want to try and use the pendulum summon mechanic that turn. And again, you could just like you could just activate this card in like main phase 2 if like your opponent torrentials after you try and pendulum or whatever. What I think is going to be good with this card is obviously Kleeports, because not only is the kind of drawback of the card you can't special summon, like, that's not going to be that relevant in a deck like Kleeports, because you can still just special summon a bunch of Kleeports and beat the crap out of your opponent. I mean, aren't they all like 1800 when they're on the field? And there's nothing stopping you from just tributing them all for like killer. So, you know, there's obviously a play there. And then decks like the DDDs, again, there's nothing stopping you from just pendulum summoning and just beating the crap out of your opponent if they don't have adequate sized monsters to just stop you from just rushing them. I also think that the second drawback, the whole you can only use Pot of Wealth once per turn, I mean, that's going to be a non-issue, because the card has the potential to be dead early, especially if you only have 5 cards in hand. That would be like really, really bad if you had to hold this card for like 3 or more turns. I would only recommend running probably 1 copy of this. I see it as a one-of. I would treat it pretty much the same way that I would treat Pot of Avarice, because the cards are very similar in a pendulum-based deck. So, you know, I don't ever want to be in a situation where, God forbid, I draw 2 of these early game, and, you know, I see it as a card that could possibly be dead early, but not for long if you're running things like Odd Eyes or Kleeports and whatnot. And then, you know, the other thing that I thought about was, I just like the fact that you can send back from, you know, not just the extra deck, but from the grave too. So let's just say you're normal summoning your pendulums and just going into beatdown mode, and your opponent's like Solemn Warning and Torrential and stuff like that. You can still send those back. I mean, hell, you can even get them discarded from your hand and still send them back. I just think this card has a whole bunch of utility, and it gives pendulum based decks like a lot of recovery, which, I mean, the mechanic already had recovery. if all your shit gets sent to the extra deck, you can just Pendulum Summon it again next turn. Like, this just adds recovery on top of recovery. It seems to me like they're literally saying, okay, motherfuckers, we're going to make sure no way possible can the pendulum mechanic fail. You're seeing that with a couple of cards that they're releasing as of late. So thank you guys for watching. As always, let me know what you think of this card. I'm glad I got this video out because I literally sat here like for 20 minutes shooting this video, and then I realized that my mic was off and I was so pissed off. Subscribing makes life happy.